All right, people, what's up? Coming to you guys a little bit later than I usually do. Had to drive home, but yeah, still don't feel radically different about that game than I did when I recorded the video right outside Stimpy's. And by the way, shout out to Stimpy's for hosting the event. Norbcam was there. Seahawks Fan of the Year winners for the last couple years were there. Mark Collins was there. It was a great event. Ran into one subscriber to my channel at least. I might have been a couple others who just didn't say they were subs, but yeah, it was a cool event. Had fun. Unfortunately, there was only so much fun I could have with that game, and 21-19. And honestly, that score doesn't really tell you anything about the way this game went. There's so much that went into this. It's hard to even know where to start. I mean, let's try to start with some of the positives right after the break here. This video is sponsored by Manta and their Pro Sleep Mask. If you're tired of waking up every morning before your alarm goes off because the sun hits your face, this is a great product for you. The Manta Sleep Mask Pro blocks out every bit of light so you actually stay asleep. With the Manta Sleep Mask Pro, you get a total blackout when you try to sleep. The memory foam eye cups adjust to your face for a pressure-free fit, and the cooling materials make sure you stay comfortable even if you're a hot sleeper. If you're interested, go to mantasleep.com to look up not only their sleep mask, but their many other products associated with helping you get a better night's sleep. And don't forget to check out their many sleep mask accessories on Manta so you can customize your sleep experience for the best possible night. And don't forget to use my promo code SBN to unlock 10% off your purchase. Link in the video description. All right, welcome back. So, yeah, let's start with some of the good stuff because there was some good stuff in this game. I mean, you don't lose by 2 on the road on literally the last play of the game or however you want to quantify it. Point is, you don't go down to the wire with a team as good as the Rams on the road without doing a lot of things right. And today, I can only feel really, really bad for this defense that Rams team has been unstoppable in recent weeks. Like the last couple games they played, they've looked unstoppable, and we held them to 250 yards. And they punted the ball 6 times. We forced a turnover. Not a lot of quarterback pressure, maybe. I'm not saying everything was amazing, but it's hard to beat that. 2 of the Rams' 3 touchdowns in this game came on a short field. So, defense, they are as good as we could have ever hoped. Run defense was a little bit shakier than we've seen in some recent weeks, I guess. There were a couple long runs to Kyron Williams that you would have preferred to have not seen, but overall, I don't even think the run defense was all that bad. It was just really 1 or 2 big plays. Didn't really get hurt all that much by anybody other than Puka. Puka had most of the Rams' positive offensive production. And it was a defense that was ready to take a division lead. It was a defense that was ready to take first place in the division, possibly for good. And the other elements of the team just weren't ready to get there. And I don't want to hear nothing about Jason Myers this week, by the way. I already saw some people trying to make this about him. I don't want to hear nothing about Jason Myers. We are not in that game if not for Myers hitting his first 4, including a 57-yarder, by the way. So we're not talking about 61-yard field goals that are basically a Hail Mary attempt because you got no other choice because your team messed around the whole game and failed to perform in the red zone over and over and over again and turned it over and over again. So we're not doing that. Special teams was good. No real complaints about the special teams. What else? K9, probably his best game of the year. Over 100 yards from scrimmage. I thought he did well. Obviously, this team is still not doing a great job running the ball. They're still not very efficient or consistent. But it is starting to get a little bit better. I think Shaheed has changed things a little bit. Barner, 10-catch game for Barner. Barner was great. Just possession receiver stuff, but that was what we needed. And without him, this game is probably completely out of hand by the fourth quarter. JSN, another 100 yards for him. I know it's off his pace, but I mean, he's doing everything that he can out there as near as I can tell. I thought the offensive line was okay. Rams did cook up some good pressures, but overall, I mean, Darnold didn't get sacked once this whole game. So how much can I kill the offensive line? And it's not like Darnold wasn't holding on to the ball for a pretty long period of time on some of those plays. So yeah, it's there is plenty of good stuff to take away from this. And if you want to come away from this game feeling like the Seahawks proved that they are just a couple of things away from being a Super Bowl team, then I think that you're onto something. I think that you might be onto something here. The problem is, one of those couple of things that we might be missing is the quarterback. And I'm not saying that we are, but we got to reevaluate stuff after how bad that game was. And this was really the first truly awful Sam Darnold game, and there's a few different things at play, right? This was beyond an awful game. This was probably worse than an awful game. I'm trying to think. That is worse than any game I saw Geno Smith play in Seattle. That is worse than maybe any game I saw Russell Wilson play in Seattle. I think that with Wilson, you could maybe say 2021 against Green Bay, 2016 against Green Bay, maybe 2020 in LA. There are a couple, but they weren't viscerally bad like this. Like, I think to find a quarterback performance worse than this one, especially when you consider how good the defense played to keep us in the game, you'd probably have to go all the way back to Matt Hasselbeck. Or you could do Sam Howell, I guess, last year against Green Bay. That was really bad, but that was only one half. So I don't know. I'm sitting here thinking about it. I think you'd have to go back to find a really bad Matt Hasselbeck game to find something worse than this. Because again, remember, there are stakes here. This was a big game, and your defense showed up. Your defense, that's probably the worst game the Rams are going to have offensively all season, especially at home. And for you to lay down not just a turd, but one of those turds that police horses leave behind, it's hard to not be very annoyed by that. So you've got how viscerally bad this game was. I'll say it again. I don't know if Russell Wilson or Geno Smith, our last two starting quarterbacks, ever had a game that bad. Like Wilson 2021 against Green Bay was bad, but his hand was busted. He was playing with a busted hand. Again, there are a couple others I could maybe pick here and there, but I actually think you might have to go all the way back to some end of career Hasselbeck game in 2010. Shoot, I don't want to think about it too much anymore, but you got that. And the turnover thing, where this is not the first time Darnold has been turning the ball over. And look, I am a big believer in the philosophy that turnovers don't matter that much. I don't think they do. When it comes to evaluating how good or bad a quarterback is, I don't think turnovers are really that good of a measure. But after a game like that, I think you have to kind of not be looking to cut somebody slack, because this was the definition of turnovers that actually completely flipped a game. Like you take the turnovers away, even if Darnold doesn't really do anything other than not turn it over, what kind of game are we talking about here? And as of right now, I think Darnold might have the most turnovers of any quarterback in the NFL. I'm not sure. He's up there. He's got like 4 fumbles and 11 interceptions now. He's on pace to have the most turnovers any Seattle quarterback has had in a season since probably Matt Hasselbeck. I don't think Russ ever came anywhere close to where Sam Darnold's headed. I know Geno didn't. So it's getting excessive because look at the way this offense is built. And I know that Darnold has played better than we expected in a lot of games. I understand that. I get that. But this offense is really built to be pretty quarterback friendly. And the turnovers are bad, but the interceptions today, all 4 of them, I don't know what he's thinking. I don't know what he's seen. people were trying to say that Cooper Kupp was getting held on the first interception, I still think it's getting picked off. I don't think that ball gets to him, even if Cooper Kupp isn't held. Some people were saying he got pressured into one of them. Even if there's no pressure there, that's a terrible ball to throw. JSN is not open, not even close. It's going to be an interception if there's pressure or not. And the push pass thing to Arroyo, I don't even think I need to expound on that. And it's not even just the turnovers, where again, Darnold may end this season leading the entire NFL in turnovers at this rate. I think he's on pace to. He may end up with the most turnovers any Seattle quarterback has had since, you might have to go back to you might even go back to the 80s or something, or the 90s, back when we really didn't have a quarterback. And it's really hard to not look at this and go, okay, we need a reevaluation. We need to reevaluate and make sure we have what we think we have. We know we have a pretty good quarterback. We know Darnold can play. You give him the right scheme, you give him the right system, you put him in the right circumstances, he can play. But the thing is, Seattle, over the last decade plus, they're used to having quarterbacks that can play hero ball. Things break down a little bit. Oh, the running game isn't quite as reliable. Oh, maybe the offensive line isn't playing stellar football. Maybe you're letting some pressure in. The last couple quarterbacks we've had have been guys that could improvise, that could still make plays, and could overcome deficiencies on various elements of this team. And today, Sam Darnold needed to be that, just a little bit, by the way. Let's not go crazy here. A little bit, and he left one of those police horse turds. So it's hard to not look at that and go, okay, let's take a step back and start over from square one on the Darnold stuff. And look, that was a game that's going to reinforce every single narrative. And I'm sorry to spend so long on the Darnold stuff, but it really is the biggest thing that comes out of this game. What else are we going to talk about here? The defense was amazing. Special teams was good. We ran the ball okay. But the most important position on the field, even for this team, the quarterback is still the one player who affects the game positively or negatively the most. So you can't play that bad. And you don't want to compare the quarterback we have now to quarterbacks we've had in the past. But we know that Russell Wilson in his prime, when we loved him and we respected him as a franchise quarterback, he could play hero ball. He could get behind and he could go make plays to win the game, to tie the game, to give us a chance to win. And I guess on some level, Darnold did give us a chance to win today. But even then, those last two drives, no urgency whatsoever. Everything moving in slow motion. Darnold acting like he has 20 minutes left when he's got 5. It was really strange. It was really strange. And I don't know if that's Kubiak's fault or Darnold's fault. A lot of people in my comments were saying you got to roast Kubiak for the time management at the end of the game. I don't know who that's on. I don't know if it's on Kubiak or Darnold. It's hard to know. But quite honestly, watching him out there, it looked like he didn't have control of the offense enough to accelerate things at the end of the game when he needed to. And my God, wouldn't another 10 seconds or 15 seconds have been great at the end? Like, could you imagine if we had another 15 seconds, could hit a 12-yard play over the middle, set up Myers for a field goal he can actually make? And, of course, maybe even worse than this loss, this really isn't that bad of a loss, if we're being perfectly honest. We lost by 2 to a team that we were 3.5-point underdogs against. Gray's able, and I got no updates for you right now. I don't know what's going on. They said they got to take a look at the imaging, but if his season ends up being over, I'm not going to be shocked. It looked that bad, and this team has no real contingency for if Gray's Abel's out. If Gray's Able is out, I don't know what we do. Is it Christian Haynes? Is it Bryce Cable-Dew? Is it Mason Richmond? I don't know. And I also don't really think it matters that much because none of that is good. So that's probably even worse than this loss. Hopefully we get good news down the line, but I'm ready for bad news. And yeah, we gotta find a way to bounce back from that. We gotta find a way to mitigate that because I seriously doubt Zabel will be in the lineup next week. I can pretty much say at least that. We're missing him for a little bit of time minimum. If he's out for the season, I won't be surprised, but I'd be very surprised if he's back for the Titans game. And look, we can beat teams like the Titans without a great offensive performance. We can survive without having Gray Zabel in some of these games, but I think that the ceiling of this team is lowered significantly with no Zabel. So I don't really know where else to go with this one. It was a brave, valiant performance, but it's a shame to waste it. And it's a shame to waste it from the guy who, we've been gassing up now for a couple months. And I'm going to say it again. I'm not in the habit of completely throwing in the towel on a guy because of one game. I mean, everything I've said about Darnold before still applies. This is a guy who's making what, 30 million a year? His average cap hit 33 million a year, well below the standard of other franchise quarterbacks. So I'm not going to hold him to the standards of a $60 million quarterback. I'm not going to say he needs to be Josh Allen or else I don't want him. That's not what we brought him in here to do. That's not what we paid him to do. So I'm totally fine with him not necessarily being the driving force, but man, today was so bad. Even on the plays where he doesn't throw a pick, he doesn't look comfortable. He doesn't look confident. So many little things like the 9 route to Shaheed that he just missed on by maybe a foot. And I know that he almost got it in there, but he did miss. He did throw that short and allowed it to get broken up. He wasted 8 seconds scrambling around in the backfield on a play with 18 seconds left in the game when we're trying to get into field goal range. So little things like that. I think that's really about all I can say. It's unfortunate. This is still a very good team, but you only get so many chances to knock off a really good squad like this Rams team. And Darnold, I can't really think of anybody else to blame, right? People are trying to say blame Kubiak. I don't know how much I can really blame Kubiak. Okay, Darnold had to throw the ball a few more times than you probably wanted him to in this game, but that was because you were down 14-3 early and you probably panicked a little bit. You probably went like, okay, we need to jump on things a little bit. And you need your quarterback to not be that bad. All right, see you guys in stream later. Go Hawks. Tough one.